I'm Big Mama Eagle, and you already know I'm going to teach you how to sew. And today, I'm answering a question that somebody asked me at church yesterday. Can you teach me how to put in a hem? I absolutely can today. I'm going to teach you how to do the cleanest, most beautiful, most professional blind hem that you have ever seen. And you do not need a sewing machine, just a needle and thread. Come on and let me show you how to do it. Now I'm demonstrating on a pair of pants, but this works on any hem. I've already pressed the new hemline in place, and an inch below that fold I've marked a seam allowance line and cut the fabric off a half an inch below that. And now I press it under, and that's what it looks like. Next, I grab my needle and thread. You'll want to use a very small needle for this. I'm using a Bowen size 11 because this requires very tiny, very precise stitches, and you cannot make small stitches with a big needle. And here's a fun fact. Bowen is the last needle manufacturer that still machines the inside of the needle's eye. That makes their needles glide more smoothly along the thread and results in fewer tangles. I don't have matching thread today, so I'm using dark gray. But it doesn't matter too much because when done correctly, the stitch is going to be nearly invisible from the outside. But I still like to follow the rule of thumb that if you can't match your fabric exactly, go a shade darker. Now I'm going to put about 20 inches of thread in this needle. I don't like to do more than that because it tends to tangle. And then you need to tie a knot at the end. Most people use a double knot. I always tie 3 knots, one for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's how my grandma taught me how to do it. I don't know why she did it that way. I guess somebody taught her. So don't ask me no questions about that. I don't know. Once I tie my knots, though, I trim the excess thread that's behind the knot, and then I'm ready to sew. Now I'm working from the inside of the pant leg, and the first thing I do is make sure that my side seams are aligned nice and straight. Then I'm going to insert my needle behind the seam allowance and come out through the folded edge of the hem. I pull my thread through until the knot catches, and that starts this blind stitch. Now, moving to the right about 1/4 of an inch and down about 1/4 of an inch, I insert my needle from right to left and make a small stitch. And I pull it taut, but not tight. Then I move to the right again about 1/4 of an inch from the last stitch, and I take another tiny stitch just above the hem, inserting the needle again from right to left. And I'm going to keep repeating this all the way around, moving up and down and making these tiny stitches. The key to this stitch is to only pick up 3 threads of fabric when you are making that top stitch above the hemline. And that's what's going to keep these stitches nearly invisible on the outside of the garment. Let me show you this stitch up close. Now you see above the hemline, I'm taking the tiniest stitch. I'm only picking up a few threads, and you can see how important it is to have a very small needle to help you with doing that. Then I come back and insert the needle again from right to left in the hem and then above the hem. And so that small stitch that I'm making above the hem will be visible from the outside, but barely so as long as we are taking a very small stitch. This stitching here also is in real time. It takes me about 20 minutes to finish one pant leg. I do this stitch all the way around until I get back to the point where I started. And here is where I'm just going to tie a knot to close it by taking a bite of thread with my needle, leaving a loop of thread on top, and passing the needle through the loop. Again, most people would do this 2 times to have a double knot, but I always do that 3 times, one for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I don't know why I do that, y'all, but I do. But I snip it off, and there you go. That's done. And if you take a look at this, it looks beautiful from the inside, and on the outside, you can barely see a thing. These are the pants all finished up and ironed, and look at that invisible hem. You can hardly see it. This is how the professionals hem their pants, and now it's how you can hem your pants too.